Chapter 15. A Tearful Farewell. The skies are turning dark over the capital. Sadness and mourning fills the hearts of ponies. When one grieves over the loss of someone dear, only a valiant spirit will endure the trial. May 7th, 2019. 220 hours. Carolina Royal Castle. I thought she crossed death, but she only has a few cuts and bruises. She said, "Tough one, alright." Rainbow heard these muffled voices. When she tried to move around, she let out a grunt of pain. "She's waking up," a familiar voice echoed. "Rainbow, are you alright?" The little Pegasus slowly opened her eyes and turned to her right, noticing fronting her bed. Mobius and the other aces were in the corner of the room. Fluttershy, "Link, we were so worried." "Fluttershy, guys?" Rainbow recognized her fellow Mirage flyers in the foreign Pegasi. "You have no idea how glad I am to see you. Wait, where's Al?" A stream of pain went through her body as she tried to get up. She fell back down on a pillow almost instantly, grunting and panting. "Don't force yourself too much yet, Rainbow," Firefly spoke. "You went through quite an ordeal. Good thing you're still in one piece." "Ow, my head. What happened?" "Where's Spitfire?" "Chill, Rainbow, I'm right here." Spitfire's voice sounded from a bed on the other side of the hall. "I'm fine, but my costume's all butchered up again. Maybe I should start flying without it." She laughed, seeing a slightly surprised look on Rainbow's face. The Blue Pegasus never saw the Wonder Ball captain without her costume. Spitfire had a few talon marks on her yellow coat. "Those Soren already went to ask that fashionista friend of yours. Rarity, was it? She could really make us some costumes from stronger fabric, like the one your fence is made of. It appears to be undamaged." Questions were swimming in Rainbow's mind. Luckily, her friends were there to answer. "How long was I out?" "A few hours," Bentley replied. 7 hours and 37 minutes to be precise. It is currently 2:30 in the morning. You're inside Catarina Castle. Appetite dragged you inside by your tail when you crossed to the ground. But it's safe here thanks to the magic barrier that Princess Celestia and Luna created around the castle. They're powdering it up with their magic. Andibal's explanation didn't make Rainbow any calmer. I saw the sea on fire. I couldn't contact any of you. I thought you were dead." Spitfire asserted they won't die that easily. It reminded her about the electromagnetic pulses the radar analysis were detecting recently. The firing main Pegasus said they were responsible for jamming the communication around the city and the Caroline itself, adding, "Most likely to work at Griffin's." When Rainbow danced asked about Twilight and the rest of her companions, she was assured by Spitfire they were fine and inside the castle, along with Soren and Firebolt, seeing if any pony was needing help. Rainbow wasn't certain what that meant, so Samrock had to take point. "The Griffins had a surprise attack. You sure know how to give us additional work. Tasman and I were flying to whoever needed help, and Mobius was aiding us too. If it wasn't for us, things would have been worse." Stein slowly nodded his head, confirming Shamrock's words. He went on. Many ponies had been injured in starting the assault, until the majority managed to evacuate inside the castle. Some were still imprisoned in their houses, unable to get out due to major havoc in the streets. But a few ponies were also reported to have been killed during the raid. When asked by Rainbow about the other Pegasus squadrons, Talisman spoke. "They were fighting bravely. As far as I know, most of them are fine." Suddenly, the doors to the room opened up. Tornadoes swirled in overdrive, battered with visible scars. They were relieved to see Rainbow awake and all Mirage flyers present, saying their teams were sent there to inform them of the situation. "But where are the remaining ponies from your units?" Rainbow asked. Both Pegasi looked at each other briefly, before lowering their sights in sorrow. Talisman and Shamrock immediately understood what happened. First, I gasped, "No, please, don't tell me that they are dead." Tornado explained blankly. "All of them?" Rainbow exclaimed. "I don't believe it." "We did our best, but the enemy was too powerful. We were outnumbered and outmatched. Only the two of us managed to escape the carnage." Green Stallion sighed. "Everything just happened too fast." "C-Spot," Overdrive's voice was choking. She fought Griffin at my stead, told me to stay back, saying I had to live to see another day. And when I turned around, I heard her screaming. I saw her falling down. She sacrificed herself for me. There was nothing. I couldn't help her. Sobbing, the levered her mare leaned against Tornado's flank and cried. He stroked her mane gently, fully sympathizing with his friend. Overdrive. I'm saddened by these losses as well. But it's too early for tears. We must keep fighting. But what can we do? What can we possibly do, Tornado? Z asked, whining. We can't give up. We have to fight together, for the sake of our friends. Overdrive knew that well, but couldn't hold the sadness inside her. Other ponies felt sorry for them. When Rainbow asked about the rest of the Pegasus squadrons, Tornado replied that Phoenix, Lancer, and Sweeper teams were all right. Their flyers sustaining only minor injuries. Unfortunately, the Stingray squadron, called back from Huffington, was intercepted on the way to Carolot by Griffin units and wiped out completely. Wiped out? Firestar had a realization. What about Blueberry? Oh, you mean Clover 1? I don't know, Tornado admitted. Last reports indicate she was fighting north of the castle area. Naslie's doing a good job. I hope she's still alive. A sound of knocking on the door was heard. It opened. 2 female Pegasi walked in. One of them had a dark green coat, wearing a dark orange mane and sporting cyan eyes. Her vest bearing the symbol of a dragon wing. The other Pegasus was a bright blue coat, blonde mane. Tornado's floor welcomed nicely. Flare Star, Wind Whistler, good to see you again. Likewise, Tornado, Overdrive. I heard what happened to your teams. My condolences. Her voice sounded firm, but understanding. Cloudkicker recognized the air Pegasi. Surprised to see her friend was part of the situation, a brief reunion was ensured. The Green Mare looked at Cloudkicker and the 6 Pegasi. So you're the famous Mirage Squadron I keep hearing about. I'm glad to finally meet you in person. You girls fight really well. The name's Flare Star, call sign Dragon 1. Wind Whistler is my wing mare. We were called back for Tryham to assist ponies in Continent. What's the situation outside? Tornado asked. Not great, but it's slowly stabilizing. Seems like you and the Griffin bastards need to rest. We could have been here faster, but we got intercepted on our way out to the enemy. She also reported sorrowfully Blueberry fell in battle, dying a violent death. Fireside was shocked to hear what had become of the Pegasus he considered a good friend, so he experienced an even greater shock when she learned what happened exactly. I was there with my unit. When we reached Catalan, she was being overwhelmed by 4 Griffins. By the time we got to surrender, it told us to get help to others elsewhere. Ready to fight till her last breath. Firestar was speaking of Blueberry with undiluted admiration. I saw her condition was really bad, beaten to semi-consciousness. Then one of the attackers separated her from us. While telling his fellows to keep us at bay. Before we got rid of them, we saw her, determination wanting to fight, in the name of her squadron. Blair's voice was getting shaky, but when she lost consciousness, that bastard grabbed her wings and ripped them off her body. By his stars, Flashlight gasped, horrified. Why are you being so cruel? There's no reason for them to be so cruel, she screamed in a sad tone. Rainbow called her. We knew there was too many to way to rescue her at that point, one was her added. The family went east. We wanted to defend her, but the Griffin wasn't done. We allowed Blueberry to hit the ground, and then he dived after her and smashed her spine, just to make sure she would not get up again. Simon Pegasus towered at the mere memory of that scene. Her voice broke down. Firestar continued on. As soon as we defeated the Griffins, we descended to pick Blueberry's body back up. Here, gave her our honors. She was fighting to the end. These are sad news, Sky Eye sighed. Why is it always the most valiant ones that are the ones who die suddenly during war? What about your team? Where's Dragon 3 and 4? Tornado Squirrel asked. Rainfall is fine, only has a minor injury to the forehead, Firestar reported. But we lost Dragon 4. Poor Raindrops, Wind Whistler said sorrowfully. What? Oh, come on! You mean the first time I'm in a fic that's not Lucifer's related and I get killed off? I'll scream? I just... Ugh! Hey, Smith, hey, Raindrops. Look at the bright side, hun. At least it's good enough to be mentioned. Yeah. But let's not forget, you're not going to be getting back to a Lucifer story for, a few months? Yeah, I'm sorry, Raindrops, but hey, a request is a request. Better show up and bright a Discord. Nin caused Sturpy's eyes to widen. Was he asked the Cyan Pegasus for details, so he told her everything. While coming up from trying camp, Raindrops was hit by 3 griffins, and before Wind Wrestler could even try to help her, they assaulted her mercilessly. Even though Raindrops tried to fight, she was overpowered and fell for Nephris's attacks. Derpy looked down on the floor, blubbering, No, I don't believe it. Raindrops. Flairstar guessed he was friends with the Grey Mare, but there was more. When they arrived, we saw Griffin Sosa beating up an earth pony, so he was protecting a unicorn Finny. We drove the bastard away and recovered her from the field as well, but I don't know if the man wants to see your pony named Derpy. I'm Derpy. The Green Pegasus stood up. Then perhaps you know her, said the Wind Whistler. She left the room in motion and returned with another Pegasus, bringing a stretcher. On a familiar figure was resting, a wounded yellow earth pony, wearing a curly orange mane. Derpy gasped, darted towards her. Carrot Top! She was lying on the right flank, barely consciousness. Medley knows her entire back was scratched up and bleeding a little. Pegasus led the stretcher on the ground. Derpy nestled her friend. Carrot, please wake up. A weak moan of pain sounded from her mouth. She opened her eyes and smiled. Oh, Derpy, I'm glad to see you. What happened? Who did to see you? One of the Circus soldiers. I think he was trying to take Dinky away. I'm not sure why. She got separated from the other filly, so I went to look for her. Don't worry. She is fine, waiting for you. Feeling immense pain, Carrot writhed slightly. She pointed to the door on the other side of the hall, leading to a different castle area before her hoof flew to the stretcher. She was breathing heavily. Why is this happening? Oh, Derpy, I feel so tired, Carrot whispered. I need to rest. Don't fall asleep. Everything will be all right. Please, can you do something? Derpy turned to Firestar. Gonna leave her like that? Help her. She's suffering. I'm sorry. The Green Pegasus shook her head. The Griffin's stab must have started with some internal organs. We can't stop the bleeding. I'm afraid it's a fatal wound. She doesn't have that much time left. No! The Grey Mare shrieked. Derpy, please, listen to me, the yellow pony whispered. There's something I need to tell you. Tears were dripping from Derpy's eyes. Other ponies felt consternation. Carrot touched Derpy's cheek with her left hoof, wiping away the tear and speaking quietly. Now's not the time to cry, Derpy. I know we were arguing sometimes, but I always liked you. I had a pretty great time being a friend. Can you promise me something? What is it? Derpy asked, flattered. Promise me that you will live. No matter what. Live. You have to. For Dinky. Don't get killed. I was wondering what became of you after Pennyfield's attack. But now, I know you'll be fine, since you are on such a wonderful team of ponies. Dinky is waiting for you. You better go see her. She grunted in pain again. Carrot, please. Please don't die. Don't leave me. Don't leave me all alone. The blonde-maned Pegasus gagged on tears. Yet the yellow mare looked into Derpy's misty eyes and spoke with serenity in her voice. You won't be alone. You'll never be alone, Derpy. You'll have many friends. Dinky, too. Derpy's son. I'll watch over you. Both of you. Just promise me. Promise me you will live. Derpy was on the verge of breaking down, but promised her friends she'll keep on living. They didn't satisfy her, however. With her eyes barely open, Carrot said, No, not like that. Smile, Derpy. I don't want to remember your face being solid when I was asleep. Please, smile. Cloudkicker bit her lips. Rainbow stared at the scene in disbelief. Their Pegasus weren't sure what to do. Derpy, despite the desolation in her heart, did what Carrot asked for. She took her hoof and smiled. I promise you, Carrot Top. I will. The other pony smiled dimly as well. That's much better. Oh, I'm so tired. Sleepy. Derpy. It's been fun being friends with you. Carrot Top let out a sigh of relief. Her hoof slipped out of the Grey Mare's hold. Carrot, good night, Derpy. With these words, the Earth Pony closed her eyes. Her head laid on the ground, though the smile never faded from her face. She was suffering no more. Every pony present in the chamber lowered their heads in silent grief. Even Mobius had a sad expression on his usually stoic face. Derpy was looking at her friend in despair. Silsey had faint hope in this was just a bad dream. No, no. Shaking her head back and forth, she cradled Carrot's lifeless body in her arms, unable to fight back tears any longer. Derpy let out a mournful wail. Whimpering, she moved her head closer to Carrot's body and went to pieces. While Flarestar wanted to take the stretcher away, Tornado Swirl stopped her. Derpy could not understand how it all happened. Why her life changed suddenly. Burying her face in Carrot's flanks, he wept loudly. Why? It's not fair. It's not fair. Fluttershy couldn't resist anymore, cried too, leaning on Medley. The winged ponies looked at their friend, saddened. The war had claimed yet another life, but Carrot Top wasn't a soldier. Just a simple mare with simple dreams. Firefly walked up to the broken Pegasus and tried to talk to her. That's enough crying, Tootsie. Pull yourself together. I know how you feel, but... No, you don't know how I feel. Shut up! Derpy bawled, releasing Carrot's body. She turned around, and much to every pony's disbelief, fiercely punched Firefly in the face. The pink mare fell on the floor. Derpy then flew up, about to attack her leader. My best friend's died. You don't know. You'll never know how this feels. You'll pay. I'll kill that bastard! Derpy screamed to the top of her lungs. Before she died down, Fluttershy stood between her and Firefly, trembling. Derpy, please stop. Don't... Her terrified whisper could be heard in the silence. Please, don't let the hatred poison your heart. The Grey Mare's emotions briefly subsided when she heard that sentence. She stopped in midair, gasping. Firefly got up, rubbing her jaw. When she spoke, her voice was strangely calm. You're right. I don't know how it is to lose a friend. Maybe that's because I don't have much friends before. I lost my parents instead. Two different kinds of ponies. Hearing that, Rainbow tried to protest. The look in her face was that of a clear shock. Derpy started realizing what she just said and did. Looking at her host, she slowly landed on the floor and broke down, crying slowly. She looked helpless. The Grey Mare was in utter despair, sobbing uncontrollably. Her friends came closer and tried to soothe her pain. Firefly told Derpy to stand up and go see her daughter. She didn't hold a grudge against her actions, even praising her for the punch. Calming down, Derpy wiped the tears from her face, thanking Firefly and her companions for all the support. Before she went away, she looked at her friend one last time. Carrot Top, you were smiling until the end. I'll never forget you. I'll always remember the moments we shared together. Goodbye. Derpy kissed her on the forehead, squeezing her eyes. I hope you'll have beautiful dreams. Rest easy. I'll avenge you. So, I can't believe this. First time we ever appeared in a fit together, Rain Dots, and we both died. Painfully. Yeah, I'm a little grumpy about that. Still, this is probably the first time we've ever died in a fic. Lesserbringer, do we get a reward for that? Oh, sure. I actually do have a award and a little medal for background ponies who died senselessly in fanfics, especially when they are Universe characters. Here you go, you two. It also has a free coupon for Sugar Cube Corner for a free ice cream cake. Maybe dying in a fic isn't so bad. Yeah, a lot annoying though. Carrot Top, do you realize I get little to no screen time in other fics? I know. Y'all are background pony of background ponies. I feel bad for Raindrops, I really do, folks. The Pegasi accompanied her with sights as the broken mare left the room. It was obvious she was badly affected by the passing of her friends. Moments later, Flarestar and Rainfall picked the stretcher up and carried Carrot Top away to the morgue, where the other fallen ponies were being preserved. Windwhistler decided to stay with Cloudkicker for a while, having a chance to talk to her. Flarestar was wiping the tears from her face. Poor Derpy. I feel so sorry for her. This is just too cruel. First she learned one of her friends is deaf, then another one dies in her arms. I can't even imagine how terrible she feels, Rainbow Dash stammered. Shamrock stomped on his hoof on the floor, sheer frustration, growling angry. But sharply, as friend said, Talisman, how much more? I know. This is just like Grace Maria all over again. How many ponies must die in this pointless war? Tell me, the stallion yelled. Talisman didn't respond. He was saddened by all these deaths himself, even though he knew next to nothing about Carrot Top or the other ponies who fell. There was still probably some sort of connection between every living pony. The death of one of them could result in others mourning the fallen, even if they were complete strangers to each other. Suddenly, a loud sniff was heard. The ponies turned their heads around till they saw Cloudkicker, trembling and sorry. They could figure out what was wrong with her, so he erupted in a loud cry. Covering her face with her right arm, Cloudkicker turned on the waterworks, unable to damp the emotions inside her anymore. Both Lightning Bolt and Windlacer were shocked to see their usual cheerful friend break down like this. It was hard to look at. "Cloudkicker?" Lightning asked anxiously. The purple Pegasus turned to her, embraced her neck, and wept, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry. I can't hold it any longer." "Cloudkicker," Windlacer approached her, agitated. "I don't remember you crying in a long time." The sad pony started shaking, like she was suffering from convulsions. She laid her head against Lightning's. When the white mare asked her what happened, Cloudkicker's voice was barely coherent at first. Then she sighed, while still being arrested by constant sobbing. "I'm scared, Lightning. I'm terrified. So much death. I feel so sad. No pony deserves that much suffering. What if you die too? I don't think my heart could take it." "What are you talking about?" Lightning Bolt wondered. "Lightning, every pony, please forgive me. I lied to you." None of Rod's flyers knew what she meant. Cloudkicker slowly explained that the real reason to join the squadron was to be with Lightning Bolt. "Lightning, do you still remember the day we met?" The purple Pegasus asked sheepishly. "How could I forget?" The two ponies were tied by great bonds of friendship since they met in Cloudsdale Weather Factory. While Lightning was usually serious and collected, Cloudkicker was playful and a little hyperactive. And if you've been following the routine, you also know we pretend that she's sexually active. Very sexually active. As in, she has been holding back, and I've been using so many drugs to keep her hot libido down. The problem is, they're the same drugs we try to use to keep your libido down. Trixie, you know I've built up immunity to that ages ago. Explains so much. Surprisingly, they became good friends when they remained after hours in the factory one day. When Lightning volunteered to follow, Firefly had to come, fearing they would be separated from each other. So she joined us not to help the team, but wanted to keep an eye on her friend as well, Rainbow Dash thought. Cloud told her that she felt sad whenever Lightning Bolt got hurt, but was hiding under the gaze of joy and smiles. Now the mask fell, she couldn't stop crying. The white Pegasus looked into the Cloudkicker's eyes, blurry and filled with tears. "Cloudkicker, you silly pony," she said roughly. "Were you the one who told us it's okay to cry when you feel sad?" "Yeah, but..." Before she could finish the sentence, Lightning Bolt suddenly hugged her tightly, speaking with warmth and sympathy. "Shh, it's okay. You can cry, Cloudkicker. Every pony feels sad. I could barely hold my own tears. And to tell the truth, I was worried about you at times. Like back there in Scarlet Grot. Since we're doing sincere confessions, it's my turn," she said, stroking Cloud's head. "Look, Vic, either just break down and let it happen, or I'm just going to imagine all the potential Yuri scenes in my head." "I joined the squadron because I wanted to protect Equestria. That's the truth. I put my trust in Firefly because I saw her as a competent leader. She was strong, determined, and hasn't failed us so far. That's why I'll keep fighting alongside her, until this awful war ends. I pray one thing. No pony deserves such suffering, but... Cloudkicker, look at me." The two of the eyes of the two friends met as Lightning Bolt wiped the tears out of Cloud's cheeks. "We've been fighting this war together, and we'll remain together. No matter what happens, we'll always be the best friends. Nothing will ever change that. Keys, keys." "I know," Cloudkicker whispered, touched by her words. She was still sobbing. "Then I'll keep fighting too. Oh, Cloud, oh, Lightning, what would I be without you?" "And me? Remember, Cloudkicker, you're free to cry whenever you feel sad. It's fine. My flank is always available." At that point, Cloud forgot the scene and proceeded to make out wildly with Lightning. It took a while to get those two back off of each other and back to the scene. The two friends embraced each other. Cloudkicker burst into tears again. Lightning was still patting her on the back. That's right. Let it all out, so that you could be the merry pony I always knew. I prefer to see you cheerful than sad 100 times. Please, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so stupid. Oh, of course I forgive you, silly filly. Return. Will you forgive me for dragging you into this whole mess? Lightning Bolt asked tenderly. Of course I will. At least we're in this together. No drats. Cloudkicker got the hiccups. Lightning couldn't help but chuckle. Cloudkicker leaned as she hiccuped again, before chuckling too. The two turned to the other pig and said a little hoarse. Sorry, guys. I can't help it. But I won't lie to you again. I swear. Come on. Lightning Bolt led Cloudkicker to the other side of the room, where he sat down cuddled in peace. Ooh! Okay, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, you know what to do. Already on it! Cuddles! Cloud still hiccuped faintly. Lightning managed to calm her down a little. Their bonding had become stronger. Medley and Wingluster were deeply moved by their confessions. That's so beautiful. Great Pegasus wiped her own tear off her eyes. Yeah, they even got to me. Why must the most beautiful moments between ponies happen at the saddest times? It's like a trial, to see whether or not we could keep fighting in this war, Firefly said. Well, they do say love can blossom on the battlefield. Wingluster decided to go after Flare Star, but not before telling Cloudkicker she'll always have a friend in her and other ponies. Shamrock got out a loud sigh and left the room as well, saying he wanted to be alone for a while. When Fluttershy asked what happened to him, Talisman mentioned it only had something to do with his friend's past. Yellow Pegasus decided to go after him. You shouldn't be left alone. At times like these, no pony should ever be alone. Firefly understood what Fluttershy meant and allowed her to go after him. She was about to leave her room and asked herself. Rainbow asked why. I'll go talk to Derpy. I think she's suffered enough. If anything happens, contact me. See you later, girls. Without waiting for approval, she followed the gray mare. Rainbow Dash and Medley looked at each other, not sure what the leader was trying to do. 03, 4000 hours. Caroline Castle, West Wing. Shamrock was slowly traversing the corridors of the castle, only briefly stopping to look through the window. The fires still outside were slowly dimming out. Those griffins must have used incendiary bombs, he thought to himself, hearing the faint sounds of footsteps behind him. The Green Stallion turned around and noticed Fluttershy approaching him. Oh, it's you. Is something wrong? No, I'm alright. Though I feel like needles are piercing my heart, she said. Yeah, it's a sad day. Night, actually. I wonder if... No, never mind. What is it? Please, if there's anything that troubles you, don't keep it to yourself. Maybe you could tell somebody about it. You'll feel better. But we don't want you all understand. Fluttershy was about to leave, but Shamrock kept her in place. Great. Maybe you're right. I have to stop being so insecure about my past. Okay, listen. Shamrock told Fluttershy about the times he and Talisman were serving in the American Air Forces. During those days, the Green Stallion had a younger sister called Morning Glow. And as his story went on, his voice was reflecting mixed emotions in his heart. We used to hang out often, but whenever Talisman and I were done with training, all three of us got well acquainted with each other. But our times of joy came to a brutal halt when our neighboring nation attacked Ameria, using the element of surprise. I told my sister to remain in the capital till we got back. The enemy was numerous, and were all eventually forced to retreat, and started a long campaign, during which we slowly managed to recover our lost lands and push the enemy back to Grace Maria. I was fighting through this whole war just so I could see my sister. Finally, the day of liberation had come. We fought bravely, defeating all who could threaten our city and helping our allies out they needed help. Talisman and I even faced off an enemy ace, who decided to fight us. Eventually we prevailed. Immediately after the battle, I rushed to the house where my sister was living, but... Behind his voice, Fluttershy came closer. What happened? The house. The whole area was destroyed. The enemy made numerous air raids on Grace Maria. Maybe they wanted to take away from us as much as they could. Morning Glow was among the wounded. When I saw her lying on the stretcher, she was smiling. She told me everything would be all right. I believed it, but fate can be very cruel. The doctors did her best, but she died in her sleep, peacefully. I can't forget the look on her face. Derpy was sad. The green stallion paused for a moment and looked at the blinking stars before he resumed. I learned about it while Talisman and our friends were preparing for a ceremony of flight over Grace Maria. A celebration. There were fireworks. Everyone was rejoicing. I got into the air shortly after Talisman. One of our wingmates named Avalanche said she wanted to come to a party with me after the flight. But I didn't feel like it celebrating. The flight was nearing its end. I contacted Talisman. Talisman, do you think you could go to Avalanche instead of me? Hope you don't mind. I need to be alone tonight. May I know the reason why? The Grey Stallion asked. My youngest sister is dead. It's been confirmed. I saved my country, but I lost my family. What kind of ace can't even protect his family? Morning Glow, how could I let this happen? Samrock's voice was filled with grief. Talisman sympathized with his friend. After all, he liked Morning Glow as well. The Green Stallion calmed down and carried on glum. Once this mission's over, I'll quit. It's just, I can't go on anymore. I have no more reasons to fly. I understand, Samrock. No one will blame you for your decision. But it wasn't over. Samrock raised the volume of his voice. The enemy still wanted revenge on us by bombing Grace Maria. I was outraged. We were called back to fight, and somehow managed to defend the city. Then I made up my mind to bring that nightmare to an end, because an angel doesn't turn in his wings after his last dance. Fluttershy wasn't sure what the black-maned Pegasus meant by that last phrase. He explained if it came from a phrase, go dance with the angels, which the enemy was supposed to use as a mockery for the Amerian forces. Samrock was still feeling down. The Fluttershy tried to cheer him up. I understand you feel sad, but you can't blame yourself for something you had no control over. You had no idea you would try and do something like this. Right, but war is a time when those who fight are capable of the worst possible things, he replied. So when Talisman and I heard about Equestria being attacked, we decided to come aid you. I thought by doing so, I could calm my conscience, but after seeing that pony die, it was some kind of cruel reminiscence. And I got off in the area, but the Griffins couldn't stop attacking the Pegasi. He smashed his hoof against the wall, feeling crushed by the melancholic atmosphere. I'm no angel, just a weak Pegasus pretending to be one. I'd failed again. That's not true, Fluttershy argued. If it weren't for you, Talisman and Mobius, and many other ponies could have been killed. I know it's impossible to save every pony during the war, but I haven't failed. After a brief uneasy silence, she spoke with her timid voice again. You see, I have a pet bunny, and he's called Angel too. He appears to be grumpy at times. At times? But he never abandons me when I feel sad or alone. As soon as Fluttershy was trying to change the subject. However, Samrock understood the context of that message. He turned to the mare, grinned slightly. I know what you're trying to say. Thanks, Fluttershy. I feel a bit better now. You know, maybe you are an angel yourself. Yellow Pegasus blushed slightly, hearing that. When she asked Samrock to come back to the others, he wasn't protesting. Before they left, something caught their eye. A lone Griffin soldier was flying by. No, he couldn't break into the castle because of the barrier caused by the princesses. He had uncertain what he was after. They hastily went back to the main wing to tell the heirs about it. 0400, 1300 hours. Caroline Castle, East Wing. Derpy was searching the East Wing for her daughter. On the way, she witnessed many ponies being tended to their injuries, while others tried to comfort those who were crying, as they too apparently lost a friend or someone they knew during the raid. Even when she came across Pinkie Pie, she saw that Pink Pie was deeply saddened. Many of the injured or killed ponies were friends. Finally, Grey Mare heard a loud, squeaking voice come to her. Mommy! Mommy, over here! A little unicorn filly was running towards her. Derpy ran to her as well. At last, mother and daughter were reunited. Derpy found herself crying again, but this time her tears of sadness were mixed with tears of joy. Oh, Pinkie, I'm so glad. You're safe. Her voice had broken down because of the constant sobbing. Dinky didn't know what was tormenting her. Mommy, why are you crying? Something wrong? Dinky. The little filly was staring at Derpy. Fizzleby, all right? Dinky asked. She remembered she was being carried to safety by the yellow mare. She also knew her mother used to hang around with her often. Carrot had grown to love the little unicorn so much, she sometimes was entrusted to Derpy to look after Dinky when she was delivering mail at the late hours. Carrot was always happy to accept such a request, led to Dinky calling her auntie. Derpy, faced with such a question, tried to explain what had happened to her best friend, but couldn't. She couldn't tell her daughter she wouldn't be seeing her again. thinking, Carrot is... Derby paused for a moment, trying to think of something. She sounded like she was choking. She's resting. Carrot went into a big sleep. Auntie needs to rest, but I don't think she'll wake up soon. What Derby didn't know was that her daughter was beginning to understand what really happened. She heard the term big sleep for Charlie several times, when the curious fillies were asking her why so many ponies were not waking up. The Curie Crusaders later learned from Applesack that big sleep was an equivalent of eternal rest. Dinky looked into Derpy's eyes. Mommy, is something Carrot did? Derpy was shocked to hear that, but figured it was impossible for her to lie to her own daughter. Her eyes already red, tired, but more bitter tears flashed in them. Yes, I couldn't do anything. Her state was hopeless. I could only watch as she was dying. It's too much for her. Derpy hugged Dinky and being weeping sorely. The little filly sat in herself, but tried to comfort the depressed pony. Mommy, don't cry. It wasn't your fault. Later, though prostrated and mostly exhausted, Derpy briefly dried her eyes and asked Dinky how she was feeling. She replied she wasn't afraid and had friends who were helping time. Dinky also met another young pony who was keeping her company. She yelled, "Don't be afraid. You come here." Before a small figure emerged from the other corner of the hall. It was a male earth pony with a white coat and dark brown mane. His coat had braised ground spots on his left eye and back. Derpy took a closer look at the short pony. "I remember you. You're Pipsqueak, are you not?" Yes, Miss Deppe," he responded with a placid voice. "Pip was watching over me while you were away, Mommy," Dinky said with an upbeat tone. "You've been so kind and caring." "Is that so?" Derpy looked at Pipsqueak, still quite sassy, managed to smile. "You're a good little colt, Pip." "Yeah, my thanks." Pipsqueak smiled as well, but that brief tense atmosphere withered away when Derpy asked the young pony about his parents. Pipsqueak replied they were killed during a Griffin raid on Tottenham. His voice was a little glum. "They couldn't escape in time. I only heard about it just recently. Oh, Pip, I'm so sorry." Derpy was sinking when he heard that. Dinky was sympathizing with Pipsqueak, while she was making sure she would remain optimistic. He himself appeared to be very sad. Suddenly the filly had a thought. "Mommy, why can't we two belong like this? Can you stay with us?" The sudden question surprised both Derpy and Pipsqueak. However, after a brief moment of thinking, the gray mare wasn't sure what to do otherwise. She hoped to bring a tiny light into Dinky's life. Approaching the spot pony, she said with a gentle voice, "Pip, I know I won't be able to fill in for your family, and I expect you to call me a mother. But when the war will end, would you like to live with Dinky and me?" "Of course," Pipsqueak stammered. I may." Derpy was about to add with such a mere succession, but the young pony was joyous. "Yes, I want to." He sent down the eternal happiness a little. He said, I really like Dinky. She is so nice to everybody. I wouldn't want to see her sad." "Neither would I. Besides, I think you would be a good brother for Dinky." "Oh, sink my toy ship, why don't you?" "What?" Dinky exclaimed. I'm going to have a brother?" "It certainly seems so, dear." Derpy made a real smile appear on her face. The little unicorn squealed in joy as he embraced the blonde-maned mare. Dinky was so touched he could only say, "I'm just Mommy, home ground." Pipsqueak seemed happy as well. Then a sound of a faint sigh was heard. "Dang it, I'm acting all sappy again." "Firefly?" Coming from behind the door, the pink flyer wiped a single tear that was in her right eye and tried to keep her composure. "I hate to break up this touching reunion, but there's something I want to talk to you about, Ditzy. Derpy, 1-to-1 if possible." "No, it's all right. You can talk to me in the kids' presence. I don't want to have any more secrets towards them." "Okay. See, I think you've already been through a lot in this war. I may not know how you feel, or any pony for that matter, but I know that death leaves a heartache no one can heal." Wait, do I interrupt?" she said, seeing that Derpy was trying to say something. "Maybe you should concentrate more on your own life. Stay here and leave the rest to us." Derpy couldn't believe her ears. Her voice was a little loud. "Firefly, what are you saying? Are you removing me from the team?" "No," Firefly said quickly. "I'm never removing any pony. But I never forced you or any other flyer to follow me either. You served your purpose and did everything you could to help us. But maybe. Before Firefly could say something else, Derby's expression became irate. The pink mare wasn't sure what that meant. Dizzy heard words he couldn't ignore. Firefly, let's make something clear. I'm not leaving this team, and I'll not stay behind while you and the other girls are fighting. You can leave anytime you want. It's your call. No, I made up my mind since you and the others helped me rescue Dinky from the Griffins. I want to keep helping, so please, Firefly, don't put me on the sidelines. Firefly knew that Derpy had suffered greatly, yet he still had the will to keep fighting. What else drives you? Raindrops tried fighting for Equestria. Carrot died because he wanted to save Dinky. The least I could do is honor them and thank them as they carry on the fight to end this nightmare. Besides, I promised Carrot I made a promise I won't die, and I will avenge her. Give me Firefly, Flash, but you're stuck with me, whether you like it or not. Are you sure? Firefly asked. What about your daughter, and that little guy too? Derpy turned her attention to Dinky, who was clinging to the mare's front left leg. She was crossing the little filly's lane. Dinky, I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait for me a little longer. It's alright, Mommy. I won't be alone. I'll have Pip with me, and other boys too. Right, Pip? Derpy did motions for her, while I could point to come closer. Do you watch over my daughter till I get back? Of course, Miss Derpy. Mom. I promise I'll be a good brother. Derpy smiled sincerely, saying, I know you will, before kissing both little ponies on the cheeks. Firefly was feeling her peace as she witnessed that moment. She praised Derpy for her determination, saying, However you might look for the ponies on the outside, I can tell inside you have a great and powerful heart. I'm glad to know you're part of our team, Derpy. All of a sudden, Firefly's communicator started beeping. It was Rainbow Dash, before saying that somebody completely unexpected had entered the castle. Before the two mares left the room, Dinky turned her sight to Firefly and said timidly, Miss Firefly, can I ask you something? Firefly chuckled, having heard another filly call her Miss before replying, Go ahead, little one. Please, it's possible. Make sure everybody will come back safe and sound. Firefly lowered her head before Dinky and grinned. Don't worry. As long as our team will be flying in the skies, with your mom by her side, no pony's going to die needlessly. Everything will be all right. She motioned Derpy to follow her. They heard Dinky and Pipsqueak wishing them good luck. A few minutes later, they arrived in the chamber where other Pegasi were located, but came to a halt when they noticed a new guest. No way! What are you doing here? Firefly exclaimed. Greetings. I've come bearing important news.